All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Team Weekly Wednesday trainings. We do appreciate being part of the team. Part of today, we have Elizabeth Meyers today, the wonderful manager here at First Team Real Estate, going to go over the 15 critical questions a seller should ask an agent. So Elizabeth, you're on.
Thank you so much, Greg. Good morning, everybody. Happy first day of March, bright and early. So we're going to get going on this because we can probably talk about this for about 8 hours, but I think we have about an hour. What we're going to go over today is the 15 critical questions to ask a realtor when selling your home. And this is a fantastic marketing piece that you can find in our Lucid Press, aka Mark. I guess it's Mark, aka Lucid Press. And it asks 15 questions. And of course, they're loaded because here at First Team, we're going to be able to answer these questions so much more thoroughly and be able to really show the value and the unique value proposition that we bring to our sellers when our competition just can't stack up. So it's loaded so that we can have an opportunity to express our value. So I don't know if you've ever seen this before. It's real easy. When you go on Mark, you can just in the search bar put 15 critical questions and it'll come up, and it's hefty. It's probably 18 pages. And of course, you can customize it. So my example, in fact, I'm going to share a link with you guys so that everything we talk about today, you're going to have the examples for. So in my example here, when I taught it in my class, I used one of my agents, Andy. And so you can see how it's personalized. You don't have to personalize it, but personalizing it is always smart smart option to use. So what I'm going to do is I am now going to share with you my screen. Share. And I'm going to close this. And so I'm going to send you guys a link in the chat, and I'll also put it on First Place. When I say it's not me. It's my truly right-hand person, Sarah Palma, my best friend, my OA. And all the pieces that I'll be talking about as proof will be on that link too. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is our presentation. Let it load here. Okay. So because I have a presentation, I can't see if somebody's raising their hand or if they need me. So Greg, will you help me? Will you just kind of say, hey, quit talking, Elizabeth, somebody has a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. All right. So in regards to this piece, the nicest thing about this piece is that it is a wonderful tool. And how will you use this tool? What is the objective of this tool? The objective in using this beautiful marketing piece is to differentiate yourself and eliminate the competition. That's my objective. We can talk about when you will use this piece. You can talk about how you will use this piece. So, hey, inventory is a problem right now. Where are we? March 1st, 2023. We have a little bit of a problem with inventory. So it would be wonderful for us to go and capture listings. In fact, I know that for February, the theme for the company, F for February, F for farming, we talked about how to farm. M for March is going to be a month of marketing, how we're going to market. How do we really know how to access those tools and how to use those tools for us, for our strength, for you as an agent. So when you're out farming, when you're out door knocking, when you're meeting somebody at a Super Bowl party or at a barbecue or at a soccer game, or you're meeting somebody to go watch a basketball game, and they ask you how the market is, and they say, I'm thinking about buying or selling a house. I'm thinking about maybe listing my house. Can you come over and check out my house? Of course, we all love those phone calls that say, hey, come list my house. One of the things that many agents struggle with is, what am I bringing? I get how to handle comps, but gosh, that listing presentation, it's beautiful, but it's bulky. I don't even know if I'm really going to go into a thorough listing presentation. Well, I'll tell you what, this piece is 15 critical questions, is a wonderful piece to drop, especially when they have told you that they will be talking with other agents. So you already know that you're in competition with other agents. So by asking these 15 questions, or by bringing these 15 questions up to them, they're going to use this as the basis to talk to the next agent or the agent after that. And those other agents will not be able to answer as thoroughly and as completely as you can answer it. So this piece, the objective of using this piece is to differentiate yourself and eliminate the competition. All right. So I know most likely you don't have these pieces in front of you. So what I've done, AKA my friend Sarah Palma has done, is that on each page here of my presentation, I have added the question and then basically the answers. So the first question, question number 1 is, hey, what kind of online and social media exposure will you provide? Now, remember, this is what the seller is going to ask you. This is a question that the seller, prospective seller, is going to ask other agents. So I don't know how many of you have worked for other companies, and we talk about it so often that the beautiful thing about First Team, one of the many beautiful things about First Team, is how deep it is when it comes to tools. You know, Cam says, you guys go lead generate. You go get leads. We'll give you the tools and the support systems so that you can help to procure those leads, to turn those leads, and to work those transactions. You go get the leads. So many other companies that we're in competition with, very, very few of them, well, none of them have what we have, let's put it that way. But we need to know how to use those tools. So the first question is, what kind of online and social media exposure will the agent provide? Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about here is, and I know you guys are aware of this, is a First Team media proposal. So this is such a beautiful piece. Again, you can find these on Mark. There are 3 different versions of the media proposal. There's the silver, gold, and platinum. I'm going to include these on the link, so in case you haven't seen them, you'll be able to look at them. Each different media proposal, they cost different money for you to actually purchase. But when it comes to maybe going over there and going over these 15 questions at your listing presentation, you're going to bring a copy of the 3 different media proposals. Well, I should say, let me back up. Depending on the price point, the platinum, the platinum media proposal is the most expensive, and it really is for a luxury property. So if you're going over to do to list a condo, maybe at $750, maybe just bring the silver and the gold. When you look at these on these beautiful media proposals, which is, again, you can find on Mark, you can customize with the address. It gives specific things that you will be doing on these beautiful media proposals. On the left-hand side, in fact, I think I'm going to actually kind of maybe stop the share right now. On the left-hand side of the media proposal is the list of the syndications. So when I list a property and I work for First Team, it automatically gets uploaded to over 2,000 syndicated sites. Here's the silver. Here's what the gold looks like. And of course, then I have the beautiful sapphire. I think it's called sapphire, not platinum. All right. On these media proposals, it also talks about all the other things that I'm going to do in regards to the media side or the marketing side when I get your listing. So this is the first thing you're going to start off with. Go on Mark, add the address, and print it out. Now, here's the nice thing about that. Did you know that you can actually take these media proposals and you can add to it? You can actually customize the media proposal in case you wanted to do something in addition to just the standard media proposal. So let me share my screen again so you can see what the answer is here. No, you don't want to see that. You want to see this. Okay, so the answer, what kind of online? First Team media proposal, gold, silver, platinum. Personalize the media proposal to add like agent reach out to Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads. Be very clear. When this seller is talking to another agent, that agent online exposure or possibility is very, very limited. So you want to present your robust ability to expose that property. The other agent probably is going to have the Facebook, Instagram, maybe Google Ads. You're going to be able to provide a customized squeeze page. Of course, this is through your KV Core. Through your KV Core, also the property will have a property website that's actually tied into your agent's website, which of course is tied into the KV Core. And we all know, are you looking for me, Greg?
Yeah, the screen's not sharing if you were sharing a screen.
Oh, well, you need that, don't you?
Sorry to interrupt, but just want to
No, you need to help me with this. Okay. I knew that was going to happen. Hi, Carla. I see you, girl.
I'm here for anything you have to teach. Elizabeth is a boss.
You wrote the most beautiful email to me. That made my night.
I'm here, girl.
All right.
A
So what
boss.
kind of online? We had the media proposals, personalize those media proposals, a customized squeeze page, property website. We have sneak preview. Now let's talk about sneak preview. We all know that when we take a listing per our agreement with the CRMLS, we have agreed, we have promised to follow their rules. And the rule is within 2 days of me actually taking the listing, I have to do something with that listing. My first step is I register it. I can bring it coming soon, or of course, within 2 days, it can go active. I don't know about you guys, but the likelihood of me taking a listing today and it going active within 2 days, golly, I think that's pretty minimal. So am I handling the coming soon, or is it going to go to register? Most likely, the majority of us are going to register that listing. So we're going to go on, register it through the MLS. I don't need any photos. It's basic information. Well, as soon as it's registered and you hit enter, our great company has connected with the MLS, and we can take all the registered listings and siphon it through our sneak preview. And the rule with CMLS, the clear cooperation policy, will allow us within the same brokerage to share and to show properties that are listed under the same brokerage. And that's what's so wonderful. What do we have? 1,500 plus agents. That gives me an opportunity to look at properties that aren't on the MLS. I can bring my clients to these properties and possibly not have, since golly, inventory is a problem, an issue with competition because I can keep it in-house. And that is completely legal, and that's how the clear cooperation policy reads. So our sneak preview is a huge differentiator, because if I work for, let's see, Tustin Remax, and Terry Cargus is in charge of Anaheim Hills Remax, we wear the same jersey, but we do not play for the same team. They are not going to collaborate. So if I have a property that, let's say, is registered on my Tustin Remax site, I should say ABC company, pardon me. And there's an ABC company in Anaheim Hills run by Terry Cargus. They're two different companies under two different brokers. So the only people that can actually show are the people in my office, not at First Team. The huge differentiator. Other thing I want to talk to you about, your online and social media. Did you guys know that automatically when you take a listing, that property through the MLS gets, and this is only with First Team, syndicated to over 2,000 other websites? Nobody can compete with that. No other broker can compete with that. So that happens automatically. Now you ask me, okay, that's great, Elizabeth, but how do I prove that? How do I show that? Well, I'm going to stop my screen. And there's a couple ways. You can actually go on First Place and you can print out the listing syndication. So they've made it a really pretty version, and it's pages and pages and pages of all the different sites that all of our properties get syndicated to. It's beautiful. Okay. It also, a very minimal list is on your media proposal. Now, remember, depending on the property pricing, if it's over $1 million, it's going to be considered luxury. So of course, now we have all the luxury portfolio and the Christie's. If it's 750, that's what's so great about Who's Who's, because it'll get captured on the Who's Who's website, which is fantastic. Good so far? Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, go back. Okay. So the second question, how will you, Mr. First Team Agent, how will you publicize open houses for my property? Well, golly, that's a great one. We have talked about, and we've had extensive training on Home Run 360. So with Home Run 360, and of course, this is all about the close. When I go to list the property at the end of the conversation, I'm going to say, okay, Carla, so let's looking at a calendar and looking at and taking into consideration everything that we've talked about getting your property on the market. Today is March 1st. We have a couple weekends. Let's see, do you think the weekend of, and I'm guessing because I don't have my phone with me, March 24th, does that seem like a good weekend for me to do my powerful open house? That gives you like 2-3 weekends to get ready. Absolutely. Okay, great. So knowing that I'm going to be there the 23rd and 24th, Carla, I need to take photos. So can you confirm with me that the property will be ready maybe on the 18th, which is like the Monday before. So you're kind of strategizing with your client at that kitchen table for your close. And you're looking at, okay, I'm going to give her 2 weekends to get this property ready. She wants to wash the windows and clean the carpets and put some flowers out in front. Other than that, it's pretty good. I'm going to have my photographer come in, and then I can do my home run 360. I'm going to just blast the neighborhood, blast my SOI with mailers, invitations to my special open house. Sometimes I'll have a themed open house. So that weekend that her and I, or the seller and I, have decided is going to be a big blowout weekend, that's huge. So because of the clear cooperation policy and our sneak preview and our 1,500 other agents that work under our brokerage, we can talk about this property. I can actually start marketing it without adding the days on the market on the MLS. Okay, so an example of that would be the e-blast sent to all first team agents, an e-blast sent to local agents. Now that will be considered marketing. So if you do that before you go officially on the market, that will count as days on the market. That's a separate conversation. Our CRM, our KV Core, and I love that there's been so much support and training with KV Core. I like to think of KV Core as the engine to my car. It's the engine. That's where, if I don't have that's my engine. That's my website. That's where I can create squeeze pages. I can connect it to my Facebook. I connect it to my website so I could become actually a lead generator. I love that. So through my CRM, my KV Core, I create squeeze pages that I then share to my social media. So let me just be really clear. The objective to this piece is to eliminate the competition and differentiate me. I'm telling you, the guy that works for the ABC company doesn't have Home Run 360 to the extent that we do. He doesn't have the e-blast through his CRM, through the KV Core. The squeeze pages posted on social media, the office meeting caravan, broker caravan, that's easy. He's probably going to have that. Live Facebook, Instagram, that's going to be important. He's going to have MLS, Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, etc. But the Home Run 360, the open house loop. Hello, I want to publicize not only on the syndicated sites that I'm having an open house. I want to make sure that everybody in my company knows that. And of course, I get to the open house loop through First Place. So the strength and the depth of our company, and, I say this to agents when I'm interviewing them. The big differentiator with our company is because of the deep, I don't want to say deep pockets, but just the deep support. What is the deep pockets? Because the deep pockets allow the support and the tools that help us do our job better. And those tools really are the eliminator of the competition. Okay, so that's how I'm going to publicize open houses. The next question is, where will my listing be posted and syndicated online? So again, we kind of already talked about it. Some of these questions are, you might notice, are a little repetitive, but, and I don't know how many of you have had this experience, a prospective client will Google or use, was it ChatGTI, whatever it is, questions to ask your realtor, questions to ask an agent, questions to ask when selling a home. So these might be questions that come up. I think marketing has done a great job, but sometimes they're redundant. So again, where will my listing be posted and syndicated? Again, as an agent with First Team, I can go to First Place and I can find the syndication list. They've done a beautiful job making it look pretty. It's also on the marketing site, or on my media proposal, there'll be a shorter list. Okay, next question. Do you have a comprehensive step-by-step marketing plan for selling my property? Again, how many houses do you think the normal family owns throughout their life? I don't know. What do you guys think?
3 or 4 max?
3 or 4. Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. So they've sold 3 or 4 houses in their lifetime, right? So are we on our 3rd, going to our 4th? Are we on our 2nd, going to our 3rd? So their experience compared to, how many houses did you sell last year, Carla?
12.
Oh, 12. So you're telling me just in 1 year, Carla, that you've sold 12 and you're telling me I'm going to sell 3 to 4 my entire life. And that was just a year in the life of Carla, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you know this stuff in and out. You are so experienced and knowledgeable just because of the life that you've led in regards to our profession. You understand how all this works. So many times your clients may not really understand. They're going to ask you questions. And of course, you're going to kind of have to repeat yourself. So do you have a comprehensive step-by-step marketing plan for selling my property? Of course we do, right? We've already talked about the media proposal. And remember, you can edit that media proposal. You're going to possibly add your particular agent, your reach out, such as your e-blast, open house 360, your broker or office caravan. You can talk about when we go on to first place and you see those fantastic loops, listing appointment, sneak preview, first look. Because of the clear cooperation policy, we can actually start within our company marketing your property even before I have a signed agreement. And once I have a signed agreement, I can actually start showing the property to other agents at First Team. I have to tell you, that's a huge eliminator because nobody else can do it to the size that we can. Of course, other agents are going to talk about MLS coming soon, registered status. Hey, I know a differentiator. We have a buyer pipeline. And I remember when I was first new to First Team years and years ago, it kept talking about the buyer pipeline, buyer pipeline. And I'm like, okay, what is this buyer pipeline? Like they keep talking about it. It must be important. I keep hearing about it. And I keep in my head thinking like, are these like buyers in a pipe? Like, what does this mean? And why do I care, right? Why do I care that we have a buyer pipeline? Why does my seller care that First Team has a buyer pipeline?
Built in people ready to, qualified buyers ready to look at the home and put an offer.
Right. In order for me to sell that house, what do I need?
Buyers.
Yes, one, but I would love more than one, right?
Right.
It's just so much better for my client if I can have more than one buyer. So if First Team has done the hard work to get a pipeline of buyers, that's a differentiator because are other companies putting the tools and the resources into getting more than one buyer? So we have a pipeline of buyers. So when we talk about buyer pipeline, what really is that? Because they keep talking about it. I'm not really sure what it is.
Tell me. I'm the seller.
You're the seller. Okay, so let's put our agent hat on. I work for First Team. Between us, the 130 of us on the call right now, when they talk about buyer pipeline, what is that? And where do
Wants and needs at the end of the sales meeting. I have a client looking for such and such in this area, so you can bring that list with you to the appointment is what I'm thinking.
It's the collaboration within my office. Okay. What else?
And the offices, all of our offices.
And there's something probably on First Place,
First Place.
That intranet that connects all of us. So the buyer pipeline is somehow connected with First Place, right?
Yes.
So is there a loop called buyer pipeline?
There is a loop inside of our big First Place app that's like a Facebook thing. Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. There's an old saying, you need a list to last. Some can argue if that's valid. This market, man, I'm looking for listings, right? So when I'm looking for listings, don't you think, I don't know, there is 12,000 agents that are members of PWR and about 13,000 agents that are members of OCAR. So what is that? That's 26,000 agents within where we kind of our little boundaries right here. That doesn't include San Diego. It's not including Torrance or Long Beach or Cerritos office. So I just want to be really clear. 26,000 agents. Don't you think they're all looking for listings?
Yes.
Aren't they? Right? They're all looking for listings. So when I come to the kitchen table and I'm giving them 15 questions and I'm telling them that I have a buyer pipeline, they're like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. How does that work? So I think it's really important that we're able to discuss what that means and why we have that and other companies may not. So does anybody want to explain to you what the buyer pipeline is? Okay, I'm going to call on Bob Gattuso.
Oh, good.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Bob. What's our buyer pipeline and how do I find it?
Well, from what I remember, the buyer pipeline are all our lists of clients that have accessed our system who've been wanting to buy a house.
That's right. And where do I find that list?
I have no idea, but I'm sure it's on first place somewhere.
Greg?
Yeah, it's on first place. So what you do is go to the roadmap. Under the roadmap at the very top, there's a search buyer pipeline. You'll be able to pull it up. Okay. And then in the secondary to that, you can also go to sneak preview and pull up the buyer in sneak preview for the agents that inputted their buyers as well.
Right. So knowing that I have a hot date with a prospective client, with a client to list their house, I'm going to actually go on first place and I'm going to go to that I have a listing appointment. I'm not putting in the address because I have nothing written down, but I'm going to do, I'm going to add some information about the property, North Tustin, 2,500 square feet, single story ranch, cross streets, possibly, pool view, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to let it sit there because I know that the 1,500 plus agents that I work with amongst my company, they're going on first place. And since the MLS is such a limited inventory, they're looking to see, hey, is any one of my coworkers at First Team going on listing appointments for a property that actually will fit the need of my buyer? And then they can go on and they'll see this. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth's taking a listing. I'm going to ask her what she thinks the price point is, or I'm going to ask her what has been done to the kitchen. I'm going to ask some questions. So that's an opportunity for me, the prospective listing agent, to have a conversation with another agent from another office about interest in a property. So when I go to that listing appointment, I'll say, hey, you know what? I've already started to pre-market your property and I have about 3 different people who want to see it. And I don't even have it under contract. So we start building up momentum and interest before I even, that's listing. Once I have it listed, I then put it in the sneak preview. So then I can go and I can show my clients, hey, these are the people who are interested in the property. So we have a lot of buyers. So when I'm taking a listing in North Tustin in 92705, I can say, oh, by the way, we actually have buyers that are working with agents in our company who are looking for this specific house. I have at least 12 of them. Boom, show them the list. It's wonderful. It's very, very powerful. Okay, I'm going to share my screen back. Make sure I do this right. Okay, so media proposal, listing appointment, coming soon, buyer pipeline, home run 360. I think we've tackled that question. Next question that we want our prospective seller to ask all agents. Can you show me examples of the photography and marketing you, Mr. Agent from First Team, that you provide? Now, depending on how many listings we've had and the kind of listings we've had, most likely we have examples of past brochures and past marketing that we've done for our listings. So it's always so nice, you know, you run extra so that you have that. So you're going to put a nice little folder together, probably a folder, you know, a beautiful First Team folder with examples of how to answer these questions. But you can, you know, past examples of brochures, things like that. But you also maybe want to have, and you can add this to your media proposal, or you can have another extra piece of paper in there that talks about how you're going to customize a property website that you create for each listing. Of course, we do that through KVR. That you do professional photography, that you have, there's a pre-listing package actually associated with First Team. We do 3D home tours, the Matterport, the videos. So this is an opportunity, knowing that this is a targeted question a seller might ask you. Tell me about the marketing. So not only can I print out the beautiful media proposals, but I can also add to that, so I can specify what I do specifically to get the house ready. Maybe you're going to add a little bit of staging to it. The agents in Tustin and I laugh, not like it's funny, but there's some agents over here in our neck of the woods who handful of years ago started this fantastic media blitz. marketing blitz. And they were brilliant at it because they dropped big pieces of paper, not just 8.5 by 11, big pieces of paper. They used the same color, this really ugly color, and they pointed out 4 things that they do when they go to list your house to sell. Now, I have to tell you, what totally irritated the local agents was that these were all things that all agents do. But what this particular group was able to accomplish is that they communicated what they did. They put it on the MLS. Well, whoop-de-doo, who doesn't put it on the MLS? I forget some of it, basic. It was all basic stuff. They take professional photography. We all do. But because they were able to communicate it in very basic, not really attractive pieces, media pieces, and they blasted these neighborhoods continually with these pieces, boy, did they get traction. And they still have traction in that neighborhood. And it just reminds me of, hey, just because the 130 of us on this phone call right now, we all understand what it takes to get a house sold. We all understand what we should be doing when it comes to marketing and exposure. That doesn't translate when I'm sitting at the kitchen table to somebody and this is the 3rd house that they've ever sold. It may not translate to them. So we want to make sure that when we talk to people that we are very, I'm talking very fast today, slow, we have our listening ears on, and it's very basic sometimes what we need to communicate because they're not familiar with it. Okay, let me share my screen so we can go to the next question. Okay, will you market my home through video so that the buyer can tour it virtually? It's a great question. Yeah. Absolutely, we'll do that. Right. So again, going back to when I sit down and I show them the 15 questions, and then I'm going to show them how I, Elizabeth, the agent, will answer those 15 questions. Probably somewhere in my packet, I'm going to have some explanation or some proof that I'm going to include a video and a drone and a Matterport, depending on who you use. And I know that one of the companies associated with First Team automatically will draw a floor plan of the property. That is so fantastic. We can upload the floor plan. That floor plan is so useful to the buyers, to prospective buyers. It is super useful to when I meet the appraiser for the appraisal. Yeah, absolutely. So of course we're going to do that. Okay, next question. What specific tactical steps will you, Mr. Agent, take to ensure that I am pricing my home correctly? So yeah, so this is kind of tricky. So I'm going to ask you guys, when you go to list a house or when an agent from ABC company goes to list a house, what's the first thing we do?
We run comps.
You run comps, right. Sometimes we do it, quick and dirty. We go to RPR real quick and just get a quick little appraisal with RPR, which is a link that you have access to through your MLS. RPR, what does it think that this property, how many stars does it give in regarding to that value? You'll pull that, you'll pull comps. And of course we can always manage those comps because you and I probably have a good handle on what that property should be listed at. It's all about my conversation with the seller and how to navigate them to get them at the price that, I'm the professional that it really should target. So besides the comps, because everybody can run the comps, what else does First Team have in its plethora of tools that really will help me mark it down or drill down my point about listing the property? There's 2.
Collateral analytics.
Yeah.
Yep, collateral analytics. I have market trends. Market trends is beautiful. Market trends, I don't know, what does it pull up, Greg? 10 different statistical graphs to talk to you about what the inventory looks like, what the days on the market looks like, the properties that have sold, what is the gap between the list price and the sales price. So depending on what you want to convey will determine which of the beautiful graphs you pull. Trend graphics, it talks about. So, and nobody else has trend graphics. Well, I shouldn't say that. Nobody else has
Market-
market trends because that's
market-
specific to first
market-
team.
Market Trends does have 14 different graphs, to choose from.
14.
And
See, I knew Greg would have the
And the
answer.
number one used is Market Activity Index.
And why do you think that's used?
Because of it talks about the market in regards to the supply and demand. It's either a seller market, neutral market, or a buyer's market. But of course, going in depth, that's a whole different workshop.
Yeah, a whole different workshop. So again, when I'm sitting down with a prospective client and they tell me that they're meeting with other agents, I want to bring with me the full force of the company I have behind me. And when I show them that I have access to these tools that will help them price their home so that they don't have to be a victim of somebody who chases a market, who has to have the wind taken out of their big blowout of listing their house because they weren't in alignment. We need to get in alignment so that we can take advantage of the short supply and the high demand. So if you're looking for market trends, if you're looking for trend graphics is a little trickier. It's all of it is on First Place. So when you go on First Place, sometimes I think about First Place kind of looking like Facebook, right? You go on First Place and on the left, in fact, do I have it? I think I have it. Let me see, do I have it pulled up? I'm going to share. I'm going to show you. So when I go on First Place, here's my First Place, right? You guys can see that. Here is all my beautiful loops.
So awesome.
And if I don't know where the heck to find it, I can always find it here. So I can put Market Trends and it pulls up Market Trends. Now remember, when you see the little green eye, that means it's actually part of our roadmap. So another way to get there is just to click on roadmap here, and through roadmap, I can find it.
Another thing you could mention is the Real Scout has a heat activity map. That's a thing I just realized with my last listing.
Tell us about that, Carla. Teach us.
Pretty cool. They in Real Scout, they have a heat activity map that shows you where the hot areas to live are. And so if you're going to a listing that's in a hot area, bring your Real Scout and you can find it in that same left-hand sidebar.
Okay, well, thank you. So I'll add that.
Add that to your arsenal.
Add to our list. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, for everyone who's on the call, if we're talking about tools that maybe you're not familiar with, you may not even know where to find them, talk to your manager. Many of the OAs know where to find them, or other, we're so collaborative and we share so nicely. Reach out to me, I'll help you. And if you end up finding it and you get in there and you're like, I cannot figure this out, like she made it sound so easy. Remember, there's also a loop on First Place that talks about, there's short little videos on how to actually use some of these tools. Now, again, it's not the KV core, which is like an elephant where I can eat an ear, a tail, a trunk, an eye, an eyelash. But the trend graphics or the market trends, Real Scout, they have these quick little tutorials, these little videos that are super, super useful. Okay, next question. How many agents are many agents are hard to reach? What is your availability and response time to answer a question or request? So basically, you're trying to figure out, what's the best way to communicate. So this can be tricky. I don't know about you, but there have been times where I've reached out to an agent and the agent says, I will return your phone call after 5 o'clock. I'm spending time with my family. I will call you in the morning. And I think, what the heck is actually what I think. And then my next thought is, well, good for them, because maybe if I had better boundaries, my phone wouldn't ring at 10:30 when I'm watching Housewives and
Right.
I've had glasses of wine, right? So I'm thinking, but then I think, wait a minute, that's not how I ran my business when I was selling. And so I kind of see both sides of that. But I do believe that in a time of, March 1st, 2023, when answers and information are just at people's fingertips, it's going to be important that we respond to our clients depending on how they want to be responded. And we've talked about this. Sometimes the different age groups will want to communicate differently. You know, for example, I think there's a particular age group that'll on text say, tell me how you're going to market my property. Well, that's a whole dialogue. That's a whole conversation that I need to bring my proof, you know, but they want to control the conversation and put it on text, and then possibly use that written communication actually as a way to measure if I'm stacking up to what I've promised. So to me, that's a little scary. Maybe it's my age. I like to verbally communicate, but I also need to know, do they like emails? Do they like texts? Are we going to talk? Am I the agent that says 5 o'clock, I will talk to you in the morning? Or am I the agent that says, sure, at 7 o'clock, I'm making dinner, but please call me. Or let me step out of the restaurant. So you kind of have to figure out how you're going to handle that. But that's a great question to handle because they're going to want to know. Next question. What should I do to get my house ready? So this too can kind of be tricky. I know agents out in the world who do such a great job communicating. Yeah, you need to clean this up. And they're not offensive. They do a beautiful job. There are some agents who don't want to have that conversation. So they actually bring in a stager. And really the point of bringing in a stager is not to, get tens of thousands of dollars worth of new furniture in their house, but it's really putting the stager on the hot plate so that they can have the conversation about minimizing, and having more of a minimal look, which is always very helpful. So we need to talk about, remember, what I think is pretty, my word pretty may not be your word pretty. Therefore, my clean may not be your clean. My, minimizing it and depersonalizing it may not be heard well. I remember years ago I was selling and I had these conversations about taking the pictures and the magnets off the refrigerator. And I got, yes, absolutely. Because remember, everyone's in love at the listing presentation. Everyone, oh, yes. And we're going to clean the toilets. We're going to put fresh flowers out. We're going to put bark. We're going to put the dog down, whatever you need, Elizabeth, we're going to get this house ready, right? And then 2 weeks into it, you're doing open houses. You're like, oh my God, they're like, what did they cook last night? Because it smells like food in here. And why are these pictures of their ugly kids still all over the refrigerator? And the dog is still outside and there's no fresh flowers anywhere. So they're in love with you and they're committing to you in the beginning. And then you kind of see, oh yeah, they really actually didn't perform what they need to do. And you're running around trying to get their house sold. So again, you need to really be able to have a conversation about preparing that property on the market. I'm going to stop there. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. I got that. Let me go back to our list here. Well, going back to what does First Team do? We have our first concierge, we have instant offers, and we have a stager that we work with. So first concierge, in the event the property does need work, they are equity rich, but cash poor. We have an opportunity where we work with Zoom costs, and Zoom costs will actually help them fix the house, and they will actually then get paid when the house closes. So we have first concierge. We also have instant offers. Sometimes you're going to meet a listing, you're going to go to a listing appointment and they're going to say, I just want to find an investor. We're done. I'm out. I don't want to clean a toilet. I don't want to do anything. Do you have investors? And the answer is, of course, absolutely, I have investors. Now, do you personally have an investor? No, but the company you work with does, and it's called instant offers. So if you go on the loop, again, search instant offers, you will find the different investors that we work with within the company. They're first team agents, and they can get you an offer over. Okay, what happens if the appraisal comes in low? Should be what happens if the appraisal comes in low. Again, you might be sitting with somebody at a kitchen table and they throw this at you and you're like, oh my God, we're talking about like square 10 and we haven't even really completed square 1, right? So you'll have to kind of backtrack a little bit and talk about, well, let me, the appraisal happens on, the 10th the 10th day of escrow, possibly 12th day of escrow. But let's backtrack a little bit. So you're going to want to talk about a little bit about the maybe RPA and some of the safety nets there. You want to also talk about all your preventable work, such as pricing the property correctly using market trends, what some of the terms in the contract, depending on what the negotiated terms might be. You're going to let them know that you have the appointment with the appraiser as a listing agent. The appraiser will contact you. You will meet the appraiser, and at that time, you will actually prepare a packet for that appraiser, including the comps, the floor plan of the house, proof of the multiple offers. You're going to also add in that appraisal packet for the appraiser an amenities list. We talk about it extensively in my office. When you meet that appraiser, what are you bringing? And I have an example, I could have gotten it out, of a packet, and we bind it together, and it has a copy of the MLS. It has a copy of the fully executed purchase contract. It has my floor plan. It has either copies of the multiple offers or a list of the multiple offers, so that appraiser understands why the property was listed at $750 and we're in escrow at $825. Of course, I'm going to run my comps. And the amenities list, especially if things have been upgraded in the property, you can add that to the packet and maybe add a date so that they can put a value on that. So meeting that appraiser and having that appraisal packet is wonderful. From the experiences I have around here, many times the appraisal packet's wonderful, it's beautiful. Periodically, you will hear an agent say, I did all this work, and the appraiser wouldn't take my packet. That happens less than it does. But your advocacy, your fiduciary duty is to the seller at that point, and you're going to do what it takes to make sure that your position when it comes to pricing is communicated with that appraiser. Okay, so let me go back to share my screen, and I'm going to show you this. So besides meeting the appraiser and having an appraisal packet, I can also show market trends, of course, which is a company tool about what's going on in the market. Confirm information that in the event the appraisal comes in and there's a discrepancy between the appraised value and the value we actually are in escrow. There are steps. We have to confirm that the appraisal is correct, make sure that the information is correct. I don't know about you guys, but the majority of the time when the appraisal comes in and there's a discrepancy, it's very rarely it's because I'm trying to sell a 5-bedroom house and he only gave me credit for 3 bedrooms. Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth, let me fix that. Oh, here's the value. Most likely when the appraisals don't come in, it's the comparables that they pull. And that's tough in this market. We're starting to see, well, we see right now, not a lot of properties. So appraisers are struggling to find comps within the 6 months, comps within the boundaries. I think appraisers are also trying to appreciate, is it an ascending or a descending market? Those of you who were around in 2008, 2009, 2010, right on there, it says right on there in the appraisal, what kind of market is it? And that was the first time I ever saw that on the appraisal. It states is it a descending market? So things are kind of, little dynamic out there right now. So there are options when the appraisal comes in low. How will new mortgage rules affect me as the client? Well, this is a great time for you to talk about, again, to add to what you might want to bring over in regards to your proof on how to answer these questions. You might want to bring over a copy of an RPA so that they can see, because again, if they're selling 3 to 4 houses, I don't know about you, but in my memory, didn't we just get a new RPA about a year ago? So unless they have sold a house a year ago, they haven't seen a residential purchase agreement. And I think the new one there's some fabulous features on it. I love the grid. It's really easy that you don't miss things. But you can talk about contingencies. You can talk about the safety nets. You can talk about time frames and the different terms, because many times seller's position is, how much can you get me for my house? How much can you get me for my house? They have no appreciation for what the market is bearing or the communication. You know, the market talks to us, right? And I don't know about you, but I can stand on the corner naked with the sign. That is not going, and trust me, that is not a good idea. That is not going to bring more value into your home. Your home is worth what the buyer is going to pay for it, right? Seller wants the most pennies. Buyer wants to pay the least amount of pennies. And it's our job to bring those two folks from two different camps together. So tell me about the price. Tell me about the price. It's not about the price, it's the terms. You know, if the terms cannot be performed, the price means nothing. So in regards to the new rules, pull out the RPA and show them that things have changed a little bit, that there are different options. You might want to talk about the VA, FHA, depending on the condition of the property. You also want to talk about, because they should know that interest rates have been dynamic and that they are up since, you know, everyone who wants to live, you know, you probably will have a seller who wants to pretend that it's February 2022. Therefore, their house is, you know, worth $300,000 more than the guy who sold 6 months ago. And you're going to have to explain to them, we're not in that market anymore. Of course, I can show proof. Me, Elizabeth explaining it is one thing. Me showing proof, boy, that just has so much more validity, right? So this is the kind of market. These are the days on the market. These are the interest rates. Money is more expensive to borrow now. So a great option, a great opportunity at this point in the conversation is to talk about the 2-1 buy down, the 3-2-1 buy down. That, yes, Mr. Seller, I understand you want to list your house and it most likely will sell for $1 million. Make it easier. It'll sell for $500,000. But when we get an offer for $515 with the $15,000 credit, what that means is your net will still be the same with the 500 because the 15 is going to go to buy down points or to use as an impound account for the first 2 years of that seller's payment. So talk to them about the 2-1 buy down. Explain to them that their net is their net. And another real quick point with this, if you understand the 2-1 buy down where I'm going to buy a house for $500, but I'm asking for seller to credit me $15,000, and that $15,000 isn't buying down my rate. It's actually going into an impound account that every month I pull money out, so that when I make my monthly payment, I'm pulling money out of this little impound account so that the mortgager, so that the bank gets the correct amount of money, but I'm only having to pay the first year one payment and then the second year a different payment. Make sure you understand how that works so that you can explain it to your clients. Okay. So many different rabbit holes that we can go down on this. Okay. What will bring your ongoing consultation role through completion of the sale? So they're saying, so what are you doing, Elizabeth? So you show up to my house today with all these questions and you're showing me why you're better and that, you know, the competition is not even in the same room with you. But that's great for now. And I like you now. Remember, they have to like you in order to hire you. I should say that helps. But after today, my gosh, I've heard, because when I was Googling what to ask realtors, I've heard that sometimes agents are like, later days, I got the contract signed and then I don't see them again. So what are you going to do from this point on so that I can communicate with you? You told me that, you know, texting, emailing is no problem. Calling, you know, past 9, probably will get a return phone call in the morning. I get all that, but tell me how you're going to communicate about what's going on with my property. So this is where you talk about, well, while the property is still being marketed and before we have any offers, I will have a conversation with you in regards to what's going on with your listing. I can go, and what you're going to do is, you guys probably know this, every Thursday when I have a listing, the company takes all this wonderful information that they have gathered in regards to all the different syndicate, how many times that property has been opened, clicked on, and it's called the listing report. And it's wonderful to give to your client, because remember, we're going to take a listing. We want to put it in alignment. We want the property to be priced right. But sometimes those sellers don't listen to us. I don't know if you've had that experience, but the saying is you can't get a price reduction on a property you don't have listed. So you go ahead, you take the listing, you're a little bit off the mark, but hey, not a lot of listings out there. I'm taking this listing. I have it for a year. I'll work them down. So you take the listing and you have been communicating with them that I don't think we're quite in alignment when it comes to that price. But every week, and you can show them that it's less clickable as the weeks go on, because your house is becoming stale at this price. It's not landing on the right people. It's not, we haven't found the buyer. We need to readjust our alignment. And that's wonderful, because it's not what Elizabeth's saying, it's what the report. So you will actually get an email of that listing report. You also want to make sure you're very, very clear with your open houses, your follow-up with your open houses, and any feedback you have in regards to the showing. Depending on how you work, you may want to have an email on Monday after the open houses. You might want to have an email after the showing, or an email regarding the showings a couple times a week, so that you have constant conversation. Statistically, when you talk to somebody whose property has expired, or when you talk to somebody, hey, tell me about your last experience when you sold your house. Thank goodness we sold it. My agent was awful. Her communication skills were so below par. Communication is the #1 complaint. So knowing that, get in front of that. I have a copy of that listing report somewhere. It looks like that. So on Thursdays, when I have a listing, I will get this report. It's generated from corporate, and it tells me last week how many views, this week impressions versus last week. This is kind of an example, it's not a good example. And then it'll tell me about the property here. So this is wonderful. So when you have a client who says, Elizabeth, you're not doing anything to sell my house, and you can show them when the house was new, we had these impressions, we had these clickability. We've talked about price points. Here's my market trend. This is for the analytical. So you can cover yourself by saying, we're not in alignment. Okay. And I'm very aware of the time, so I want to kind of get through here. Okay. What happens if we get 2 or more offers at a time? Well, this is more of a communication. You change the dynamic from negotiation to competition. You create a report. I will create a report comparing all the prices and terms. You might want to share with them the pros and cons of a seller multiple counteroffer. And you also can bring value by talking about how you're going to have the offers when you funnel them down, well, even depending on how many you have, that you'll have your lender cross qualify your offers. Okay, how should we respond if we get unsatisfactory offers or no offers at all? Of course, this is where you bring in your listing report, you bring in market trends. You want to communicate that the actual market communicates with us. If we're not in alignment, we will know. And of course, we know that there are 5 areas of alignment. I have to be in alignment with price and condition. Can the property be accessible, or is it, you can only see the property on days of the week that start with the letter M between 1 and 2 p.m. That doesn't help. No lockbox, seller control lockbox. I need that property to be priced for its condition. I need it to be accessible. I need to make sure that the compensation is adequate and per the market. And of course, I'm in charge of the marketing. We're going to market the property. I don't know, 99.9% of the time when a house doesn't sell, it's because the price is not meeting the condition. You have found, and I know you have, when you are looking for properties on the MLS, cell phone photos, you have seen compensation that is well below par, and you've seen where the accessibility is difficult. Even though we love to list properties, we also represent buyers. We represent, you do big, small, you're going to do them all. we will fill up our pipeline, because the buyer of today can be a seller of tomorrow, or that buyer is a referral base for sellers. But many times it's so frustrating when we do have a buyer and we see the luster of other professionals in our industry who just don't market the property, who the compensation is low because they know they can, and it's just super frustrating. But that's not how we act. We are professionals. We work for the #1 company in Orange County, and our 5 alignments are price, condition, accessibility, compensation, and marketing. So we're going to have a conversation, Mr. Seller. If we are getting no offers, we're not getting any showings, or the offers we are getting are super below what we have the property listed at, we need to have a conversation. We need to put our listening ears on, because the market is trying to communicate with us. Okay. Can you please tell me about your post customer, I think this is supposed to be past customers, regarding the results and reputation of your services? So again, beautiful testimonial tree. You can go on Trend Graphics. You can talk. In fact, you know what? Let me show you this. So I bet you guys know this, right? So Trend Graphics and Market Edge. So depending on where you have sold, you can go to Market Edge, which is a tool that First Team has, and you can put your name in, and you can search through zip code, search through city. You have date parameters, and it's a wonderful testimonial of how well I sell compared to the general market. So between my testimonials, because it's always better for somebody else to tell you how great I am versus me telling you how great I am, I can also pull up this wonderful tool called Market Edge. So I'm going to put this in my example. And this is my friend Annie McCullum. And it talks about the city of Orange from 2020 to 2022 is when I ran this. Her sales were 13. In comparison to the market, she's up 1,200%. Her average price was this compared to the market, so she was up 2%. Average gap, she priced so well. Her list price and her sales price, the gap was only 8,000 versus the market was 20,000. So that just goes to reiterate, if Andy is telling me I need to list my house at 749, I'm going to listen, because her in the market, she knows what she's talking about. So this is wonderful. It's called Market Edge. I'm going to send you guys how to find that. And I think we're down to our last question here. I'm being very aware of the time. All right. Is that the last one? I think so. Okay, let's see. Is that the last one? I think so. That's our last one. Okay, that gives us a couple minutes to talk about if there's any questions. If there's any questions.
There's nothing in the chat, so
Oh,
let's
good. Okay.
let's open it up real quick. But before we do real quick on just a couple of things right now, Elizabeth, awesome. You know, this is fantastic and a load of information for everybody.
It was a lot. I'm sorry if I went fast. It's a lot. I will put on first place. I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize, Greg. A copy of what Market Edge looks like, what the listing report looks like, your media proposals, the global luxury syndications, what the syndications look like. I also want to show you a copy of a landing page, a squeeze page, and an e-blast, and a copy of the buyer delivery system.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll help with your talking points. I'm sorry, Greg. So sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no problem. In a link that was put in by your office minister, I believe that it's in the chat right now. So if people want to be ahead of the game and get that, it's in the chat. Go find that. Just a reminder, a couple things is one, your media proposals for anybody at First Team Real Estate, 1 million and above. you get a free media proposal, regardless if you buy into the not media, excuse me, you'll get a free e-blast for $1 million plus of your choice. There's 4 different types of e-blasts that go out. For all $1 million plus, you have to notify, marketing department. So that's for all $1 million plus properties. Okay. Also, to the media proposal, it's not just pay for it. You can also have a blank one and start from scratch within the mark too, as well, to be able to build that. So you do have that capability here. Then on Market Edge, for those that don't have stats, and are starting out new, don't have much, traction. Our story is your story. Right. So you can go do a couple things. One, you can go in the MLS and you can hone in down to the tracks and the areas. It doesn't matter if it's just in the last year, but you can search by first team and you can plot all those pinpoints of all those properties we sold here at First Team and what we're going to deploy. These are the tools and the resource, what we use to deploy to successfully sell these, we're going to do for you type deal. Right. And so you can do that. But also in the Market Edge, there's also a First Team, a history report where it does that for you. So you can map out the area and then it will pinpoint over time what First Team sold. So that can help you as well. Okay. And then the other thing, let's see here. Broker reciprocity. When it comes to marketing and listing syndication, at First Team, we choose as a company, because it's a matter of choice, choose to be able to syndicate, to allow our listings to be advertised on our competitors' websites, such as, Coldwell Banker, Remax, etc. So it's kind of, you get the best darn marketing system and you get them at the same time, because we're going to be on their websites, as well, because it's a matter of choice. Not all companies have to choose that, but we do choose, right, to be able to do that. So I just wanted to fill in a few things, too, as well. And let's open this up for more, questions and comments.
Greg, can you repeat the last thing you said, where to find that report on First Place?
On First Place, which report?
The one to pull up for all the sellers that sold the properties.
Yeah, it's going to be on. So go in a roadmap. Once you go into the First Place, go into roadmap. At the top in the search bar, type in market, the word just market. You can do it a Market Edge. There's market comparison. There's market comparison tools. It's in one of those because it's going to give you choices. Market Edge is for individual. There's also First Team market comparison, which is First Team comparison versus another company. Maybe we need that story. It's like a Market Edge, but it's First Teams, right? And then you also have the plot map, where you can do that and have that map, but we can do that in the MLS as well. It's just pretty and it works.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get some other questions, because Elizabeth just rock star.
Great job, Elizabeth. So much information. I was taking notes the whole time, so thank you.
Oh, love to you, Carla. She's my biggest fan. She's my only fan.
No, I am a huge fan. And I was under her tutelage for a good year and learned so much. So anytime she teaches a class, I'm on.
Oh, you're sweet. We need to have lunch, Carla.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. What other questions or comments? Anybody want to add anything to Bob? Anybody? One of our managers? Everybody's soaking it in, Elizabeth.
She nailed it. She nailed it. Like, she nailed it. There's no.
You're sweet. You're sweet. So I'm going to put all this stuff on the loop. I changed some of the wording on that presentation. But call me. I'm over here in Tustin. Call me, email me if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to help you if you need anything.
Yes.
And
I'll be calling you. Thank you so much. You've done such a great job.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so. Hey, love to you. Happy March. Stay out of the rain. And call me if you guys need anything.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
Reminder.
I think I'm on teaching next week too. So
Yeah.
Write that down.
yeah. So
Let's-
March
let's-
is for marketing. So we're talking about more marketing stuff and how to access that. A little deeper
Okay.
dive than we did today.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, next week is getting top dollar for your listings. Elizabeth is part of the panel with Jeremiah Seacrest and Terry Cargis, and they're going to be talking deep about that. So we appreciate you being part of today, part of First Team. Remember, this will be on First Place under the video library, and together we are First Team. All right, take care.
Thank
you,
you.
Elizabeth.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
All right, bye.